Me too. Yeah, this is on Netflix for me. Here we go. All right. Whew, it's good to be back. Especially with somebody, because like I haven't, I think the last thing I did for a live commentary, hello, was the Warriors, which I would have liked to have done with other people, but I don't know. I just
Yeah.
had this really strong urge to watch the Warriors, and I was like, I might as well. I shouldn't waste it. I should do it. And before that, Orc and I had done Broken Arrow, and even that was quite a ways ago. But
Yeah, I
we're
wish
still
I had been on that one too. I think I was
yeah.
busy with something, but I
Yeah,
like that
because
movie.
that might have been originally because the three of us still have a special movie plan to do together that we've been putting off for a while,
One day,
but we are going to get to, and that was one of the
years in the
ones.
making.
Yeah, so much hype, but yeah, that's a good one. It's funny; it had actually been a while since I've seen it, but as I said on the time, there was a time in my life where that was my most watched movie. Like, not my favorite movie, not even in the top 20, probably, even though I did like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just always on, and I just always watched it. Like I don't like. I think the first time I ever saw it was like how I saw a lot of movies. I saw it on VHS, rented in
Mm-hmm.
like Ryan's basement, and then after that, it was just constantly on TV for like the next 25 years. And I'd be like, "Oh, I love this movie. Better watch it." I never had a DVD of it. Never streamed it until just then. I was like, "I'm going to stream this." It was on Disney Plus. Still is on Disney Plus. Disney Plus is for me has like a really weird array of action movies, including the other Segal movie from 1990 that we considered because there were two Segal movies from 1990. This is Hard to Kill, and the other one is I think Marked for Death. And Marked for Death is currently on my Disney Plus as well. This is on
Which
Netflix for me in Canada.
which one really was his like where he kind of blew up? Was it Marked for Death or was it Hard to Kill?
I think it was I think it was the first one. Like he blew up right away. He did Above the Law
Yeah,
first. This is his second movie. He
Above the
did
Law.
Hard to
That's what it was. See, we kind of talked
yeah.
about
So
it
I mean that was
before.
his first ever.
It all is just like jumbled up in my mind. These movies, these Seagal movies. It's like I
I
can't
mean he
differentiate between
was
them really.
yeah, he was an instant success. He had his life of doing various garbage and stuff, and over in Japan opening his dojo and stuff. But then he'd come to California. I don't really even know what his ambition was. I don't know if he necessarily had film ambitions, but he did weasel his way into like Hollywood by getting to know people. And there was some guy, I think he was a producer, who he was the instructor, he was the Aikido instructor for, and the producer was eventually like, this guy's got star potential. And I mean, as much as I like to dump on him, and we will dump on Segal for many things, the one thing I will say is like at the time, Aikido would have seen it as something different, and also
Yeah.
Segal, as much as he sucks, he does have charisma, but in kind of, I would say in an annoying way. But he does have charisma that at least it's memorable. And I guess the other thing is that Steven Seagal was a very, well, I guess he is, but a very large man. It's like 6'4", 6'5", which would have
Yeah.
made him tower over somebody like, say, Jean-Claude Van Damme or Stallone. He would have been much bigger. So I can see why like they would at least give it a shot. And yeah, so Above the Law was his first ever movie and pretty much overnight success. And this is his second movie and the first of two that he made in 1990. So this is Hard to Kill. This is directed by the guy who played the ring announcer in Karate Kid. So we're in good hands there. But I mean, another thing about late 80s Seagal is this, of course, co-stars Kelly LeBrock, who
Right.
I don't, was he married to her at this point? He married her. I know he did, which just sickens me because Kelly LeBrock was one of the bombshells of the 80s. And to think that he had her in his prime is annoying as hell. But yeah, I'm trying to see what the timeline is on here of when he was. I've got it. He has a massive page in Wikipedia. A lot of it has to do with various allegations, you might imagine. Yeah, I think it says that he was having an affair with her. Oh, because that's right. Because he was married to that's the other thing that's part of him being a piece of shit, right? Because when he was over in Japan, he married a Japanese woman. So he was married to this woman.
His daughter, I guess, was with the one he was married to.
Yeah, it's coming back to me now. Some of this, like this woman was so supportive of him, and then he comes over and starts having an affair with Kelly LeBrock. So he gets divorced, he even had married another actress in 1984. It seems like, is he some sort of goddamn polygamist? Because he was married to an actress called Adrienne LaRosa in 1984.
I think he's just an asshole. I think is the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. So he married LeBrock in 87. So at this point, he'd been married to LeBrock for a couple years. Yeah. I mean, by about 93 or so, he and LeBrock would divorce too. Irreconcilable differences. But at this point, this is when things are going well in Steven Seagal's life. His first movie blows up. Suddenly he's an action star. And now he's in his second movie. And he's like, I got a hot wife actress. We'll put her in there. And so things
so
are
they were
going
already
great.
married, right? They married like in 87.
87. Yeah. Which is the same year that other person he said he was married to gave birth to a daughter. So good for Segal. Jesus Christ. So that's weird too, because that marriage was annulled the same year. Oh no, LeBrock. No. LeBrock gave birth to Segal's daughter in 87. Okay, so he did not have a child with that previous actress. So as much as I like to slam him, I don't want to get my facts wrong there.
Mm-hmm.
He's married now to somebody of Mongolian descent, but I don't know what's going on there.
Probably
Segal has 7 children from 4 relationships. Plus, he's got 2 grandchildren by his eldest son, Kintaro. So there you go.
Okay. So he had 2 children with his first wife.
Must be.
Whichever wife number that was.
I believe that was his
Japanese
first
lady.
wife, the Japanese wife.
Mm-hmm.
And by all accounts, she sounds like a really nice person. So again, how did she get mixed up with him, you know?
Yeah.
Because I mean, some of these people, like when you talk about like some of these abusers and stuff like Cosby and stuff, it's just like, we've seen how charming and awesome they could be. Like, when was Segal ever charming? Like, well, all the stories are like that he showed up on set, thought he was a big deal, tried to be like, pushed everybody around, tried to intimidate all the stuntmen, saying how tough he was and everything like that. And he would just aggressively hit on any women anywhere around him. Like, that was always his deal, always, from the very beginning, even before,
Hey, he's a badass. You can't mess with him, man.
Because at this point, Segal was telling the story that, he had maybe not officially, but he'd worked with the CIA in Japan, and also that he'd fought against some local Yakuza and things like that, because they were so mad that a foreign Gaijin had opened up a dojo, and he fought them off. In his story, he even used a hand grenade on them. Although he didn't kill any of them, he scared them, supposedly. Yeah, his stories are bonkers, as you might expect. So this is him talking about his early days, I think, in like the 70s in Japan, or maybe early 80s. But anyway, we'll get to the movie here and see what's going on. I don't remember if the subtitles are on. But for me, it's right on the logo coming up. I can't remember what it is.
Is that what the Paramount lot or whatever that is? That's some lot.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so the other big development in my life, PlayStation 5. So
nice.
Which is, I really didn't feel, it felt like it was never going to happen. So it is nice to have it. So we'll do a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and hit play for anybody watching. So 3, 2, 1, and go. I can already tell that's too loud.
No, Warner Brothers lot, my bad.
Oh, Warner Brothers, yeah. But as time goes by, I knew it was as time goes by. Warner Company. So yeah, like, I don't remember the difference between this and Marked for Death at all. I think Marked for Death is like in Cuba or something. This one's not. Because the reason this is called Hard to Kill, so I remember at least, like, it's going to start, like, he gets shot and he's in a coma for like a bunch of years, and then he comes out of his coma to get revenge. That's more or less what it is. Pretty straightforward.
Is this the one where he does all the weird running?
I really don't know. Oh, there you go. Bruce Malmuth. So Bruce Malmuth, the director, that is the guy who I would say never directed anything worthwhile, but he was the ring announcer in Karate Kid. So there's that. Just like the referee in Karate Kid, he did a bunch of stuff too. Close seems too loud. My Netflix is louder than my Disney Plus. But yeah, I don't know. I can't remember if he does weird running or what. Also, he in this, like, I know whenever you have like movies with badass cops, they have to have badass names. And this, his name is Mason Storm. So, ooh, Detective Storm.
Storm, get out of my office.
Yeah, I hope there's some of that. I mean, that was perfected by Clint Eastwood and Dirty Harry, but it's been ever since. But yeah, so at this point, I mean, Kelly LeBrock is much more accomplished than he is.
Yeah.
Oh, he opens with a great joke there. He says, "I'm missing the Oscars, guys."
Wow. Okay. Got a covert camera there.
Yeah. 1990 tech at its finest. Oh my god, I've got a dripping faucet. It's driving me nuts. I might have to get up and do something about that eventually because I'm very OCD about these things. So, like, I don't think cops ever do surveillance like by themselves, right? Like, there's no such thing as one guy doing surveillance. But
yeah,
you can take some liberties, I suppose. Because, I mean, that's very much Segal's MO, too. He's one cop. He's like a one-man army.
He doesn't need any help.
Because, I mean... Oh, hi, Jamie. Thanks for joining us for this classic. Not. But we mostly just wanted to talk shit about Segal. But also, I just kind of wanted to remember this movie because it's been so many years since I've seen him, most of his movies, until you get to the really horrific ones, which doesn't take long at all. They just sort of have a blandness where they stick together. The only ones I really remember distinctly are the Under Sieges because they're at least halfway decent. Although the second one's not nearly as good as the first. I really wanted to do the second Under Siege. That was my first choice, but I can only get it by renting it and not paying anything for a Segal movie.
Those did really well, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, like we said or beforehand, like he did blow up kind of right from the start. His first movie was a success, but yeah, his biggest success and what most people consider his best movie is Under Siege. You understand why? I mean, take him out and put somebody else in, and it's even better if you ask me. But it's a good movie. Plus, you know, it had other big stars. Tommy Lee Jones is in there. Gary Busey's in there. Some old school criminals with their hats. Yeah, here we go.
Oh man, he got him.
Just like Batman. This is where they took inspiration from for that scene in Batman Begins where he takes out all the guys by the docks. It's like, be smooth and silent like Segal.
Have you seen Will Sasso do Segal?
Oh yes. Will Sasso's so great. I don't think enough people know about Will Sasso. He's been great for so long. I really liked Mad TV back in the day. It was a fun alternative to SNL, and I used to watch it after school.
The Kenny Rogers Jackass.
Oh my god, that's the absolute best. That's always I'm Kenny Rogers. What a bizarre concept, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Catch a bat with your teeth. Yeah.
Is that oh shoot, I can't remember his name, but he was in Die Hard 2, maybe? The main criminal with the hat on there,
I think you're right. And like every 80s and like 90s cop movie always has that black cop. Look, he's got like a mustache and he's wearing suspenders.
Right. Well, it's like Danny Glover.
It's the Danny Glover template, yeah.
Yeah.
So you know he'll be good friends with Segal. You know, they'll be buddies. I love how he's calling from a payphone to...
William Sadler is the name I was trying to think of. That may not be him, but it looks kind of like him.
Yeah, I didn't get a good look. I mean, at least some of these bad guys show up later because the whole point is he's going to get shot and be gone for a while. So I think it's a 7-year gap. So not that these movies really care that much about that, but technically maybe it's supposed to be 1983. It's a
Wait.
movie set in 1990.
Oh, it hasn't happened yet. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, did I miss the coma?
No, he's gonna get shot, and then we'll do a jump forward, and I think it's 7 years.
God,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many tropes, man. It's all tropes. This entire movie. Like the grizzled convenience store clerk with a cigar in his mouth.
It's like, we're friends.
Yeah. $4.
Oh, porno. There we go. Oh, maybe it is unrelated. I thought it was the guys he was watching. Is it just a bunch of random punks that shoot him?
Oh, that guy's in everything too. He plays like every race. He's an Italian. He's a Mexican.
I'm surprised Bill Paxton isn't there.
Yeah, that guy there. He eventually got tattoos like all the way up to his neck.
Classy.
Kind of like Danny Trejo, like gangster number 3 or whatever.
I remember like maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was like a Mountain Dew commercial with Steven Seagal. I'm starting to wonder, was it like a parody of this scene? Because there's this part where like he's in like a convenience store and he's going to buy Mountain Dew, and it's like some guys come in to rob it, and he sort of like accidentally foils them. And he's like, and he looks in the, it's like one of the only things that he's ever done I thought was kind of cool. And he looks at the camera and goes, I can't believe it's me either, or something like that. That's right. We wasted him just for the fun of it.
They're a real diverse gang. I was like an Asian fella behind him there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's kind of how they would do things, right? They always wanted like race not to be part of it, so it's like they always had like gangs that are like mixed, which is
even though I don't
not very realistic.
Yeah.
Like 90% of gangs that exist are based on like race. It's like a black gang, a Hispanic gang, a white gang. They exist too. The whole point is like that's what puts you in the gang.
I was a white dude. Okay.
Yeah. No, this is a mixed gang. Like they have on TV and movies because they want to sort of take race out of the equation. It's like we can't just have a bunch of Hispanics as criminals. That'll make us look bad. Throw a white guy in there too.
Like the Death Wish movies, they're all like that too. The gangs are always really diverse.
Well, I think that's what they were trying to get away from, because I think the Death Wish movies went too hard on like showing like criminals are all minorities.
Well, yeah, but I mean Jeff Goldblum's one of the criminals.
That's true. That's true. You're right. But I mean, being like a Hispanic actor in the 70s was just like gangbanger number 4, gang number 3. Like those were like your choices, pretty much.
That's an extremely fake-looking knife.
What the hell kind of movie is that?
That's like, a keto, bro.
Yeah, sure it is. So so obviously those punks weren't gonna be the ones to shoot him. It would have to be somebody badass that actually shoots him.
You got to establish what a badass he is.
He's so badass. He's listening to soft jazz. Oh, he's got a second tape though. This will be better. Oh, it's just his stupid work. Listening to the is he gonna get shot in his own home?
Got some books on tape.
It's gonna be really fast. I gotta take care of that dripping or I'm gonna lose my mind.
Cool. The epitome of a badass. Like a badass car, like a ponytail.
Just a sneaky faucet. It's not like I don't check it when I turn it off, but it has like a weird delay, and then it's drip, drip, drip.
What point did he switch to the Fu Manchu goatee thing? That looks like
not for quite a while.
Was shoe polish or something?
Yeah, he was clean shaven for like his prime. Always clean shaven. Yeah, it wasn't probably till you get into the 2000s that he started doing the goatee thing. What was his last theatrical movie? Was it the Tom Arnold one? What's that called?
It wasn't Air Force One, right? No, not Air Force One. Executive Decision.
Yeah, that's not even his movie, right? Like he's in the
Right.
beginning of that, and then he blows up, and that's one of the better stories about him being like a complete asshole. Is that like John Leguizamo talking about like laughing in his face because he's just like, "Oh right, we're gonna do things this way," and he like throws Leguizamo up against the wall and tries to get all his face and shit. I'm like, you're 1.5 feet taller than John Leguizamo. You're a real tough guy.
Was he in one with like DMX or Ja
Yeah.
Rule or a rapper or something?
Yeah, is that Half Past Dead?
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's a theatrical release or not. It might have been because they
I
were
think it
actually
was.
big names. Yeah. So yeah, because the one I was thinking of is Exit Wounds, which I think is 2001. That's got Tom Arnold. So he must have done at least. I think he might have done Half Past Dead after that. Let's take a look at the old filmography here, so we can get a good look. Yeah, Half Past Dead was 2002. I think that might have been his last.
Yeah.
Because Out for a Kill, I'm pretty sure was not. So from about 2003 on, for the last almost 20 years, it's been straight to video or straight to streaming. But between 1988 and 2003, he was kind of he wasn't A-list by any stretch of the imagination, but he was considered a solid action option, not in the tier of course, a Schwarzenegger or a Stallone or whatever. Although Stallone, didn't do that much action in the 90s. Stallone kind of let that go. Because he was trying to do different things, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, like Eraser.
Yeah, well, that's Arnold.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who'd you say? Stallone?
Stallone, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, Arnold was still all action in the 90s. I'm saying Stallone kind of moved away from action in the 90s. I mean, sure, he did Judge Dredd. But he did that really crappy cop one.
They did the Get Carter remake.
Yeah, that's it. The Get Carter remake, which I've heard is horrible. I've heard it's awful.
It's not good.
Oh, look at that vest. I bet you he still has that vest. Recalling,
but not that he still fit into it.
Not that he can fit it now. Recalling his glory days. Is that Kelly LeBrock? I can't even tell.
I think it is.
Yeah, it must be. She's British, right? Yeah, she's British.
Mm-hmm.
I remember about not quite a year ago, I finally got to watch. It might have been her first movie. She's in The Lady in Red with I can't think of anybody's name. Willy Wonka.
Oh, yeah. Gene Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
What
an odd movie. Like comedies in like the late 70s, early 80s. Like I really don't get them. Like I like some of them. And some of them, actually my favorite is of all time is Animal House from 78. But there's some really odd ones. That's a really odd one, like tone wise.
Yeah.
It's like Gene Wilder's just some ordinary salary man, and he works at a place where he happens to run into this model, this beautiful, and he just becomes obsessed with her. But there's also like a weird, even though he's married with kids and stuff, as you expect. And then like there's weird subplots with his friends. I think one of his friends is another one of those guys that was considered a comedic actor back in the day, and I never found funny. He was in Beethoven and.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking.
Grodin, Charles Grodin, something Grodin, right? He's in there. Like it's a. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just watching with modern eyes, but I just thought the tone was insane. That movie, I couldn't understand what's going for, and like a lot of movies in like the 80s, like it would have like F words and stuff.
Yeah,
just thrown in there. There wasn't, I don't think, any nudity in that movie. Although a lot of those movies did have nudity. Probably the best, like the movie is mostly a footnote in history, not remembered as any good, but it is remembered because it's where the song "I Just Called to Say I Love You" by Stevie Wonder came from. He wrote it for that soundtrack.
Wow.
And then, of course, in the movie, and the song went on to win all sorts of awards. And, of course, one of the greatest hits of the 80s, a huge hit. Oh, look at this. We getting to see her.
Nah, not really.
Oh. Uh-oh. Look at his hair, guys.
Spidey sense.
He's going to get... Oh, he doesn't. He got shot quicker than I expected. I thought he'd take out more before... Oh, no, he's just running with a bullet in his chest anyway.
You got shot twice.
That's like the best kick he'll ever... That's the best kick of his entire career. That sort of clunky...
Like a
kick to the ribs
roundhouse?
he just did. Yeah. Not a very good roundhouse, but it was just an ordinary roundhouse to the ribs. And that's probably the best kick he's ever thrown in any movie ever, I would say. Because the rest of the time he doesn't even kick. Or if he does kick, it's just some sort of like low front kick that wouldn't do anything to anybody. What the hell? They're coming after the black guy, too.
Do they live in the same house or something?
Yeah, that's a confusing thing. So, of course, the movie won't go dark enough to kill the kid. We know that. The wife's dead, though. Jeez, that's Kelly LeBrock's whole role. She just says, "Hey, baby," gets in bed with him, gets shot. But we know
just
that
blast little Fred Savage.
What's on his pajamas? Can you make it out? Yeah. So they're here to for those interested in the plot. They're here to retrieve his surveillance tapes. I mean, they're trying to get the kid. I'll give them credit. Like, movies nowadays wouldn't even have them shoot at the kid.
Dinosaurs? I can't tell. He won't be still.
Yeah. Stay still and get shot so I can see her.
Damn, that dude just jumped out of it like a 2-story window.
You do what you got to do. Guys with shotguns chasing you.
Hey, that's Steven Seagal's kid. He knows what's up. He ain't going to be no chump. He's getting the fuck
So that's
out
interesting. I mean, we're going to have a 7-year time jump, so we're going to see like the kid as a teenager.
Probably not, but that would have been a good idea.
I don't know. They might. Another trope that I kind of remember from like these sorts of movies was like you would have like, and maybe it's one of those things where I'm blowing up in my mind based on like one example. I could just remember at least a couple movies where Jean-Claude Van Damme would have a kid, and they always got like the wussiest kid ever to play his kid. And I was like, is it to create a contrast or something? It's like he's a big tough guy, but he doesn't want that for his son, and so his son's like, I mean, you don't expect, he's a kid. He's not supposed to be tough or anything, but the kid just comes across as especially wussy. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's weird. I've seen a few like Jean-Claude Van Damme do a few of those scenes where like his kid is like so lame.
So the bad guy is like the chief of police or whatever position is.
He set him up, did he?
I mean, must have. Because he was the one there interviewing, like, right behind the secretary in the hospital. So I don't know that that's a thing, but.
He looks like a cross between Van Damme and Christopher McDonald. Or is his name Christopher? You know who I mean. The guy who's like in Happy Gilmore and shit like that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that guy's name.
Something.
The guy that he eats shit for breakfast.
Yeah. He's in a lot of he's in a lot of comedies. He's the bad guy because he's good at that. I think his name's McDonald. Fire Down Below was one of the only. It might be the only Seagal movie I saw in the theater, and I had a friend who was a big Seagal fan, and he just loved that whole movie. And I was just like, it's fine, whatever. Because there's a running gag in that movie where like he keeps beating up like on these same guys, and like one of them he keeps hitting in the nose, and whatever. And like I remember my friend like freaking out, like thinking it was like the funniest thing. I mean, we were like 14 or whatever, but so like he just loved that he kept brushing that guy's nose. I'm like, Jackie Chan already did that, in,
right?
Like,
every movie he made.
Yeah, but the one we did together, Rumble the Bronx. Remember, he kept breaking the Asian guy's nose.
Yeah.
Most unstoppable son of a bitch I ever knew. I wonder if I feel like Seagal wrote that line.
He probably has a writing credit on the script. Wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, he does for a lot of them. I don't think quite yet. Because a lot of them, he's like a producer too.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a producer on Above the Law. This one, his only credit is acting. But, actually, he has very few writing credits. Not that doesn't mean he didn't interfere here and there. He doesn't have writing credits on anything notable. Bunch of movies that I've never even fucking heard of. Shadow Man. What the hell is Shadow Man?
Glimmer Man ripoff?
Oh, man, Glimmer Man. See, but that's funny because like Glimmer Man came out in '96, so that's considered when he was still sort of decent. And I still remember that movie as crap.
Oh yeah.
But my dad was a big Seagal fan, so
really?
Really, the movie he's seen the most is definitely Under Siege. Like he's always watching that on TV. But yeah, Under Siege 2 isn't good, but it has a certain charm. It has something about it that I like. So I hope maybe some point we can do that. I mean, it's stupid, but
Is that the one on the boat?
that's the one on the train.
Okay, it's on the train. The first one's
Yeah,
on the boat.
first one's on the boat. Second one's on the train, which I mean, at least makes it a little unique because there have not been too many train-based action movies. I mean, Denzel Washington did one, but I didn't see it. Unstoppable, maybe.
Money Train.
Maybe he did. It was like Chris Pine was coaching.
No, I think you're right. I think it was Unstoppable, but
I never saw it though. What I heard is like the whole vibe is basically like Chris Pine and him. Their whole vibe is like
it's
you're old. It's like you're an old guy, and he's like you're a young whippersnapper who doesn't know anything. You know.
Oh man.
All right, so we're getting a bit of a montage here to show passage of time. Look, he's growing a beard and hair. He's become a Christ-like figure.
Patient number. He doesn't have a name.
Yeah, I don't get it. They were showing him as like a John Doe. Was that like the machinations of the police chief? Did he like cover it up or something?
Maybe
Did he suppress his identity? I'm gonna.
I think so.
Take a quick look at what it says here, so I don't lose this amazing plot.
Her coffee mug says black by popular demand. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so it was corrupt cops that were watching him. Mason informs his partner that he has evidence of corruption, hiding the tape at his house. Assassins, blah blah blah. Okay, no, so he has one of the good cops, Lieutenant O'Malley, is the one that suppresses his identity so that they can protect him, so people don't come to finish him off. So that's why there's a John Doe here. Okay, so that's actually one of the good cops protecting him.
He just hops out of bed, no atrophy, like he's just good to go. Like
I assume that's what's going to happen.
Ready to whip ass.
She's got a little surprise for him. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
yeah. Okay. What a great joke. She's like, I really thought that he could. Yeah. It's like, again, if maybe he did write this, if we have like the nurse totally getting ready to give it up to him.
Bring him some McDonald's. That's what he really wants.
He needs the healing power of McNuggets. Oh, that's LeBrock.
Oh, that is?
Yeah. I was pretty sure that they wouldn't just ice kill LeBrock right off. So that's her. She looks a little kind of weird with her hair tied back. Yeah, I guess he's got a type. But yeah, also I just noticed in listening a bit that she's actually speaking in her natural British voice there. Which now that I think about it, she mostly did in movies. Like she did in Lady in Red, she did in Weird Science.
Yeah.
So I'm acting like she's usually putting on an American accent. No, she wasn't. Because she really wasn't an actress. She was just an up-jump model, as some of these are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, painful family flashbacks. Yeah, where is the kid? The kid must, like, did they tell does the kid think he's dead? Like, do we get to find out what happened to the kid? Because, look at those squinty eyes.
He's harnessing his chi right now.
Yeah. Exactly. I had that turned way down, and still that was super loud.
I don't think it's too loud, though. I can hear. I've got mine turned down, so I can hear it through yours.
Okay.
But it sounds fine.
I assume they're going to really do LeBrock up later, because right now they're trying their best to, like, mask her beauty. She's all done up, and she's got glasses on.
Yeah.
There's going to be a scene where she just, like, lets it all come down, I assume. She's like, what's wrong with these machines? No mortal man could do this.
His heart's not beating, but he's moving.
maybe try harder. Just reading her buttons there. I forgot buttons were a big thing in the 80s too. I mean, it's 1990, but still.
Yeah,
I can remember people having those buttons. It was important to have buttons. I remember I had buttons that I put on like my school bag, my backpack.
Mm-hmm.
People might put a button on their hat.
Yeah.
And of course, in the early 90s, it was ironically important because you had the smiley one that Nirvana would use a lot, sort of unofficially.
Right.
So I became all about that. Well, that's a big anti-smoking thing there, too.
Yeah.
See, that's like a big red rectangle with a cigarette in it.
I don't know if it's just to be like, don't smoke in here because we're a hospital.
It's 1990, so it's a transition period. They're finally realizing maybe we shouldn't let people smoke in hospitals. Because, I mean, I don't know. I guess if you're young enough, that sounds insane. But Jay and I are both old enough to remember when you could smoke most places.
I remember smoking on airplanes was still a thing.
Yeah, I remember going to restaurants with my family, and they always said smoking or gone, and we'd say gone. But yeah, I remember smoking on airplanes. I mean, well, as an airplane's a lot more back then than I am as an adult.
Yeah, me too.
So far.
Movie theaters would have the little ashtray in the armrest.
Yeah, I think I've told you this before, but it's one of the things that kind of blew my mind is one of those like shows that was on A&E about like cold cases and stuff like that was actually about a murder that happened in my hometown. And everybody heard about it. It was about, I probably told you the story before, but there's the store's still there. It's like just a convenience store. It's called Big Ben's, just an ordinary sort of convenience store like that. But what happened was there was this older couple. They were like from Ontario or something, and they'd retired here. And they were both like in their 70s. But the woman was sort of bored because she didn't have much to do. So she got a job at the convenience store just part-time to have something to do. And one night she was there working late, and it was a goddamn blizzard. And I remember the blizzard too. It was 1992, and we got a bunch of school off. And that night, there was this guy who was actually from Newfoundland who just sort of murders her for no reason. Like he just like stabs her a zillion times. But the thing about it was like he didn't just come in and buy stuff, and it kind of brought a flood of memories back. Was like that when if you go into the store now, or if you go into the store within any time of the last 20 years, it just looks like a sort of a convenience store with this and that. But I had all these memories back because they actually showed what it looked like then. That there was a section towards the back where nowadays you would just have more cases and things like that, where they actually had just a few like tables and chairs like bolted to the floor, like maybe only like 4 of them, and you could actually sit there and hang out. And he was sitting there smoking for almost an hour, just watching her. And then eventually, just sort of out of nowhere, he comes up to her and like he did rob her. But first, it seemed much more about murdering her. And on the show, it was like, you know, he got away because he wasn't local and he took off. And it was way later in Toronto. They did this weird sting to bring him down, where the cops rented out like this suite at this hotel, and they made him think that he was meeting with members of this criminal organization. So they made it all like that. He thought he was going to like join like some, I don't know, mafia group and stuff. And one of the things they said is like, we need to have something on you. So he basically admits the story about the murder he did back then. And that's how they got him. But, I mean, it was a terrible murder. Not too many murders happened in my hometown, but that was one of them. I think it was 92, which is weird because if that is 92, that was the year of murders because that's the infamous McDonald's murders we had. But where 4 McDonald's employees were shot. 3 of them died. 1 had permanent brain damage.
Wow. So they were like, hey, if you want to join our gang, you got to give us some, you know, what have you done? I killed her.
Well, it wasn't, they were making it sound like, you know, because they were taking on a guy they didn't really know in the, you know, trust and stuff like that. Like it's important that they have like dirt on him, like something they could use just like as a show of trust. It's like, no, you can trust me. I'll do whatever you guys say. Cause they were really putting on a show for this guy. I think he was joining like a big organization that, you know, where he'd make a lot of money and stuff.
I've heard them do that before with some of the sting operations. Yeah.
And that's what it was. And he went for it and he told them the story. They already kind of suspected him. I guess it was just to get it cold. I don't remember, but I mean, he was gone. He was in the wind. He didn't even stay in town for like he was gone within the next. He was like a drifter guy. He'd come from Newfoundland. He moved on, you know. So, but I mean, really tragic murder. Just this older woman who just to give herself something to do, decided to work the shift at there. And Sydney's not a dangerous place then or now. Like, but things can happen anywhere. I don't know what, if he had a knife on him or what, but yeah, like he cut her crazy. Like, it wasn't just like, that's one of the weird things about it. Like, it wasn't just like just to kill her. Like, he did a lot of stabbing and stuff that was totally unnecessary and weird. So obviously the bad guys have finally found out that he's here, but he's going to have a narrow escape.
It's Dustin Hoffman.
He's such a chameleon. Doe John. I wonder who is the biggest actor to work with Segal. Probably is Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, who else was in Executive Decision? Although that's not a Segal movie per se. I mean, Kurt Russell's the star of that. Yeah. But I don't even think they don't even interact in that movie. I don't think. It's hard to remember. That was one that was on TV all the time too, but it was also one I could resist. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I watch a bit. I'd always watch him blow up if I could. If they had that scene of him blowing up, I'd always watch that.
That's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I'll take that over pretty much any other Segal movie, honestly.
Yeah. Well, because it's not really a Segal movie. They kill him off
instantly, right.
Which is pretty funny. And I wonder if like that was a rewrite. Like he was so annoying on set. They're like, we're just going to kill him immediately.
That would have been hilarious.
At least he's being somewhat realistic in that, like, he can't just bounce out of bed here. Like, he is still somewhat helpless.
Blah, blah, blah. I can't reach the Stanley magic door.
This guy's being awfully cautious. Like, why? He's the one with a gun. What's he worried about? He's already wasted, like, 2 people. Why are you being so stealthy? It's not a hospital full of armed guards.
He just cocked his gun again for no reason.
They do that all the time in movies, right?
Yeah.
Such a nice visual. So he thinks about shooting Kelly LeBrock's like, yeah, I guess there's no real reason for me to shoot a nurse with an armload of medical supplies. Now that I think about it, she's not really a threat.
Push them all.
This just makes me want to watch a better movie like this sort of thing. Like the Donnie Yen movie Flashpoint has a great scene where assassins come into the hospital to try to finish off the guys. His friend. It's got a really good scene in an elevator where unfortunately one of his colleagues, the female cop, gets killed.
Yeah.
I recently got to see that again because it's on Tubi. Unfortunately, you can only watch it. They don't have subtitles, so you can only watch So I got to watch it with a stupid English dub. It was pretty funny.
I hate that. Yeah.
It was funny though. But man, that was a great movie. Alternate title could be Donnie Yen shows off his MMA training because that's really what it's all about. But I mean, he was in his late 40s when he made that. Incredible. I'm so excited for him in John Wick 4. Do you know that? He's in John Wick 4.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's going to be like a main bad guy in John Wick 4.
That's cool.
I know he's like in his late 50s now, but he's incredible. We'll eventually get to do a Donnie Yen movie on here too. They're just harder to find.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I discovered him much later in life because for the most part, he hadn't done much over here. When he did, it was small things. It's funny because for the first time in like 20 years, a few weeks ago, I watched Blade 2. He's in Blade 2. I forgot about that. He's on like that team that that Blade kind of joins.
Oh, the vampire team?
Yeah. Remember he has to team up. Yeah.
Kill the vagina monsters.
Yeah. But he does get at least one really good scene. And he even does like a cool jumping triple sidekick to a guy.
Man.
Cool. 3 points of contact.
I like that movie quite a bit.
He mostly uses a sword. Yeah, it's a fun movie. All the Blades are fun. Like, a lot of people hate the third one. I can't hate the third one, man. I mean, I get all the things that make it crappy, particularly the fact that the main bad guy is so stupid. But I mean, It's also a good preview for Deadpool in a way, because Ryan Reynolds as Hannibal King is sort of like a pre-Deadpool. Like he does all the same sort of quips and stuff.
Yeah, I like Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I mean, like as a comedic actor, as an action actor.
So what? The nurse has like this badass convertible. Well, it's California. Everyone's got one.
Get the fuck out of my way! Everybody's in his way.
I like how he went from like so stealthy and careful to just running and blasting. I'm surprised he's not opening fire just right there. It's like, oh, better not.
Just stand here holding a gun. It is California, so you fit in, I guess.
I remember years ago, I think I crashed in on, I think it was a live commentary. I don't know if it was officially Sausage Factory, but it was related to that. Remember they doing Cobra? And like I showed up late and just started trashing the movie. And this just reminds me of because Cobra's whole plot is like he has to protect this woman because she's a witness against that crazy gang. But the whole thing is, why are they so worried about her being a witness? They spend the entire movie completely out in the open, overtly trying to kill her in broad daylight in the middle of the city. It's like, we have to silence this witness because she knows things. It's like, what are you guys worried about? They're not quietly trying to do away with her. They're attacking her en masse in the middle of the day.
There's a Do the Right Thing billboard.
Oh, shit.
A Spike Lee joint. That must be the same studio because it was like right center frame.
I think that movie's overrated.
Yeah.
I don't like Spike Lee, though. No, I don't like Cobra. I don't think Cobra's overrated because most people don't like it. I know it's got a bit of a cult thing, but I would like to see a remake of Cobra because I think it has potential, but I don't know. Plus, Stallone just doesn't try at all in the movie, and there's stories of him being an asshole on set and just watching basketball games and things like that. Like, he didn't really care about it. It's like, weren't you going to be in Beverly Hills Cop? He's like, oh, fuck that. I'm going to do Cobra. I'll just turn the script into Cobra, which I think is what he did, right?
There was a lot of that going on back then with the big action stars.
Yeah.
What was Die Hard going to be? Die Hard was a vehicle for one of those guys. I'm trying to figure.
Well, Die Hard was. Well, the funny thing about Die Hard was, technically, it was based on a book, and the book was part of a series that had a character. It wasn't exactly a sequel, but back in the 70s, fucking Frank Sinatra had played the character. So they were contractually obligated to offer the role to him first. 1988's Frank Sinatra. But they knew he turned it down, like he was going to do it. But they had to do it. Legally, they had to offer him the role. So he could have said yes. Can you imagine? Elderly Frank Sinatra as John McClane.
Yeah, I can't do a Sinatra impression. I would.
Yeah. Speaking of another good impressions, that's one of the underrated. That's one of the underrated impressions by the late great Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman used to do him, and I loved it too because he's just like, I just thought of him as somebody that would have absolute contempt for our generation. So that's all it is. It's like it's just him like being super snarky and hating all the younger people. It's really good.
Phil Hartman's great.
Love Phil Hartman.
So. Is there going to be like a montage where he gets back into shape or something? Because he can't even like walk now.
Yeah.
Has to be, right?
I assume.
He goes
like so far, he still seems really depressed.
I'll tell you what, while we're at a little bit of a lull.
Yeah.
You mind if I show some stuff off here?
Oh, let's see. Yeah.
Got this is if you guys that are watching this remember we did the movie Ran. The Kurosawa movie, and it's not a replica, but it's the same sword that they used in that movie. Because if you remember, it wasn't a katana. I haven't seen this yet either, so my first.
So we didn't actually do Ran. We've talked about Ran. Well, we didn't actually do Ran. We did. The last one.
The last one we did.
Was the old one? Shit. Rashomon.
That's what I'm thinking of. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all I'm thinking about.
Ooh.
That's it. I'll open it up in a little bit. From China, of course.
Like most things.
Yeah, fuck it, I'll have to get some.
Oh, there's some sort of like political campaign going on in this too. Speaking of buttons, everybody's got their political button on.
Because that's the same guy. That's the police guy, right?
Yeah. So what is he? Maybe he's now some sort of politician. Let's see. Oh, they're gonna show. Oh, you know how he's gonna get. They're gonna show him getting back into it by his knowledge of Eastern medicine. Of course, he's gonna like start using acupuncture and stuff.
Give me some ginseng. And this, god damn it, this is vagina flavored potato chips, all the way from Lithuania.
Chaz, gotta trust Chaz.
I'm not gonna actually eat them right now, but I'll show you what the.
Good. We'll get flagged for such a sexual activity.
Ah, damn! I can't imagine that tasting good, right? So.
Wow. I shouldn't be surprised that's a thing, I guess. Well, there he is. He's writing down. He's writing. Here's a list of herbs and needles I'll need. Where did you learn to write in Chinese? Ah, son of a missionary. I was raised in the Orient. And I learned all their greatest secrets. I am the Iron Fist.
All right, I'll be right back before this action pack gets going.
All right now he's lecturing people. Tell me, Sifu. Tell me. First learn how to heal people. Wow. To hurt people is easy. So we see he's very much the poet warrior. It's like, oh yes, I've learned the killing deadly arts, but I've also learned how to heal because I'm a mystical, spiritual man. Which is one of the most annoying things about Segal, really, is him trying to maintain that kind of aura that he's very spiritual. So yeah, I'm a big screen tough guy with guns and stuff, but I know how to. Yeah. I mean, they are at least treating this somewhat realistically. That he can't move too well, but yeah, soon he's gonna use his Eastern medicine of the Orient, and he'll get back in fighting shape. Fire down below. I haven't seen that in so long. No desire to ever see it again, but it's an interesting memory. It says family slaughtered. That's weird. We didn't see the kid die. Or is that part of the cover story? Did his cop friend fake the kid's death to protect him? Because, I mean, they showed the kid getting away. Oh, now he's reading some sort of ancient Chinese manual. Here's that montage we were talking about, Jay. He's got his, kimono on or whatever. He's such a badass, he's going to perform the acupuncture on himself. We show him starting small. Small weights. He's got. I mean, I get that they're trying to show that he's still weak. Wow, that's what Segal looked like in his prime. That's kind of sad. Get that tree.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about right here.
Yeah, montage. They did some good work with the makeup there for his scar tissue, though. I'll give them that. Looks like Ben Askren punching. Now, the headline said family slaughtered, but I think that means like somebody faked the kid's death to protect him. Because we saw the kid get away. Great, now my camera's fucking up. Come on, camera. God damn it. Sometimes if I turn it off and on, it works. I don't like being blurry. Stop cam. Start cam. Stop cam. I'm still here. I'm just switching cameras for a second. Yeah, there's the other one, covered by the other one. So let's see if I switch it, it'll work. Brio. Come on, Brio. That's better. There we go. Chasing down some sort of weed. At a retirement villa. That's a very elegantly dressed nurse. This is what the nurse wears on her days off.
I thought she was going to a funeral.
Yeah. It's 1990. The fashions of the 80s haven't died out yet, and the 1990s haven't really emerged. So it's a very messy, ugly year, as I pointed out many times. Crap, is it? O'Malley's the lieutenant, so he must have retired. Because O'Malley's the one that protected him, that suppressed his identity. So, yeah, so I assume O'Malley's going to tell him that, his son's alive and that he did the same thing to protect his son. Your camera's off, by the way. Or maybe you're not here yet.
I know. I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh, okay. We got more. Oh, he's pumping iron now.
Yeah. They at least did show that he started small, like he was barely lifting her. So
I could appreciate that. I mean, not realistic, but better than nothing.
Yeah. I love how she just shakes her head and says Mason Storm. It's like, yep. He's some kind of man. Whoa, that's very cool.
So this guy, and this is I forget the type of sword this is, but
is it the Tanto?
No, it's Chinese.
Oh no, you're right. It's longer.
This is I was looking it up when we were doing that movie, and I came across this website. It was relatively inexpensive, but obviously from China, so it took it like 2 months to get here.
Yeah,
but
cool.
Something cool.
I wonder what era that's from.
Because I remember, like, it was kind of odd seeing that in a Japanese movie, seeing that sword.
Yeah. How many times is she gonna change her hairstyle? My God. And if this is still her place, what did he do? Like, just make her drag all his shit that's been in storage over? Or did she just own all this?
I wouldn't think so.
Don't interrupt me. You might like a flower? What the hell? Kelly LeBrock must be really tall. I mean, a lot of 80s models were tall.
Yeah.
And I know she's in like elevated shoes there, so she's a little.
Yeah.
Thank you for the flower. Now let's make love amongst the candles.
My wife is dead, but my dick's not. Yeah, so from Rashomon, it was Tajimuro, despite being in feudal Japan, not carrying a Japanese katana, but rather a Chinese jin, Gian.
Oh yeah, I remember we did talk about that. Yeah, maybe it was a cheaper weapon. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Probably, I would imagine those katanas. You just about can't beat that.
Yeah. Plus, like the lower class wouldn't be allowed to own one.
Right. Or be able to afford one.
Yeah. There's another staple of these movies is the sex scene is longer than you'd expect. Of course, now, actually, it wasn't that long. Because we talked about how sexless movies are nowadays. They don't even have sex scenes.
Right.
I mean, one of the funniest things I ever saw is when Ryan and I went to see Chuck Norris's movie Silent Rage. That has a sex scene, a really bad one, and it goes on forever. Like the whole theater is like roaring. So stupid. Chuck Norris in bed with this woman.
That's cool, man. I would have loved to have seen that on the big screen.
Yeah. It was so random, but it was awesome to see.
It's a good movie.
Well, I mean, it's just a completely unique movie, right? Like Chuck Norris does his like karate movies, and then Chuck Norris does his like more Delta Force type movies. But this movie was like a weird, almost supernatural blend. It's basically like a karate guy versus Michael Myers.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, Chuck Norris versus Michael Myers.
Yeah, it's a cool movie. I like it. Yeah, your son's not dead. I know O'Malley's going to tell him his son's alive. Felicia Storm. Oh, hey, they did do it. I was saying they don't pay attention to those details, but they do. They did say it was 83, so they really are doing the.
So we're what now? Oh, we're 83. No,
so it's now it's 1990, 7 years
gotcha,
later.
Okay, a present day. Gotcha.
Yeah. Because I said at the beginning, I was like, I know there's a time jump of 7 years, so technically this is 83, although I don't know if they're going to show that, but they do show it there on the grave. I like how Kelly LeBrock is like playing herself, except when she's the nurse. The rest of the time, she's just her normal, glamorous model self.
Right.
But the bad guys are onto her. Who is she visiting? Martha? That guy doesn't look like a Martha.
No. Martha dead, yo.
What? Strangled over in Westwood. These things happen. You go to Westwood, you get strangled.
Wait, who was Martha again? Do we know?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess she looked like Martha, maybe? Or Martha looked like her, rather?
Oh. It's confusing.
Ooh. Beautiful Ford Taurus.
They don't make those anymore, do they?
I think so.
Taurus. Got replaced by the Fusion.
Yeah.
Just trying to think of other Fords. I'm not great at car names.
You may be right. They change them out so quickly now. Like hardly anything stays the same anymore.
Yeah.
Whatever their sedan.
Remember Plymouths? There used to be a lot of Plymouths around. Not anymore.
Plymouth Chrysler Dodge before they got bought out by the Germans.
Yeah. Is that him? No, that is O'Malley. He's gonna help him and then get killed. That's how these things go. He's gonna tell him some stuff and help him and tell him that his son's alive, but then he's gonna get killed. Then he's gonna get killed. O'Malley, you're my one link to my previous life. It's like, your kid grew up to be a fine boy. He does 111 flat. Well, he is my son, so, he's amazing.
Is he not surprised that his son's alive at all?
Well, I guess he says, how'd you pull this off? So I guess that's kind of... Hey, you remember Segal's range is not that great. That is Segal being surprised.
I mean, wouldn't it be more like, what? He's alive? I mean, that was better than him right there.
Where is he? Is he safe? There you go. Damn, O'Malley, you thought of everything. His mother's maiden's name. That's such a smart thing to do. I wouldn't do that. I'd make up a completely new name for Christ's sake.
Right, exactly.
It's like I wanted to do the least amount of work.
I put him as your name, but backwards.
Storm 2. I like how it's like, let's just drive out to the middle of nowhere to continue the same conversation.
Right. Got to go have some brewskis.
Oh, yeah. Have some brewskis by the road. Can't tell what the hell they are. Maybe it's Corona.
He said, don't worry, I made a dupe. Like for duplicate, I imagine.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That was the lingo. Dupes.
This guy's going to die in like 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah. The clock's ticking here.
He's out of here.
I love it when Scully dies in the McBain movie, right? He's just like, you're crazy, McBain, eating all that junk. I'm going to retire with my wife, and we're going to sail around the world. This ship's called, like, the Live Forever or something like that. And the guy comes in and just, like, shoots him, like, 60 times in front of him.
Live forever. That's great.
McBain does absolutely nothing until he's, like, fired all the shots. Then he tries to shoot the guy. I like how McBain doesn't react at all. And then he's just like, I'm not going to make it. He's like, oh, you're talking crazy. You're going to be fine. It's like, just do one thing for me. Get Mendoza. Like, I would love to watch, like, they should make a full-length McBain movie. I would totally watch it.
Yeah. It may be out there, for all I know, with all the stuff people mash up.
No. Yeah, I mean, there's a few different scenes of McBain movies you could at least put together. There's that one. There's the one where McBain crashes the party of criminals by, like, coming out of the ice sculpture and shooting everybody. There's one where he's flying a fighter jet fighting the commie Nazis. He drops down and breaks the guy's neck.
Commie Nazis.
Yeah. They've even got it. They've got like a swastika with like the hammer and sickle over it or something like that.
That's nice.
It's like currently being intercepted by commie Nazis. I don't know if I'm supposed to be impressed by that display. It's not like he just shot like some bottles or something. There's just a bunch of garbage that he shot. It's like, wow, what a marksman.
I hit it. I shot that wagon wheel. You saw it.
Yeah. Here come the bad guys. Here we go. One more favor, O'Malley. I don't think he can do I think he's out of favors. His time is up. And he's like, get my son. Get rid of my son. I don't really need him messing up my life right now. I got things going on with a hot nurse.
Right. I don't want cock blocking me right now.
It's like I've recentered my chi and I've used my Asian arts to bring myself back into superhuman condition. Things are going pretty swell.
You know, say what you want, man. He's kind of held the same style all the time. Like he's all about, Eastern everything.
Oh yeah.
Eastern medicine, Eastern, martial arts and stuff.
I mean, at least some of it is legit. I mean, a lot of it is exaggerated and bullshit and stuff. But I mean, it is true that at one point in time, he was pretty good at Aikido. It is true that he's had friends in places like Japan. and maybe picked up a thing. Like you can see why it would be trendy in the late '80s in a place like Hollywood. It's like this guy's got all this cool mysticism, and
he's white. He squints a lot.
Yeah. What is it like? Peter Griffin says he's just like, you act Asian, but he's like, but you kind of you look. I don't know. I can't remember what he says, but you look like you might be Hispanic or something like that. Your name sounds. He's like, your name sounds like it could be Jewish. He's like, well, what are you? To which Cleveland follows up, "You fat." Actually, in a really early Family Guy, like season 1, they do show Joe watching a Segal movie. It's great because it has his environmental message in it too. It's just like he's up north somewhere, and it's just like a close up on him. It's like, you bastards come into our village, you pollute our water, blah blah blah. And it turns out he's like talking to a bunch of like seals, and then he like starts fighting them and breaking their necks.
That's great.
I mean, if there's, I don't know how much of it is true or bullshit or postured or what, but I mean, the one thing I might agree with Steven Seagal on is, yes, we should protect the environment, but I don't think his message is exactly the best way of doing that by making crap movies. I mean, hell, remember Chuck Norris made Forest Warrior, for God's sakes. Oh my God. Have you seen that movie, Forest Warrior? Oh my God, that is something to behold. Chuck Norris plays, and of course he's a white guy, but he plays like the spirit of a guy that, I don't know, died fighting poachers or something, and his wife was Native American. Anyway, and these kids are like trying to stop like this company from, I don't know, polluting on a mountain, and they get protected by Chuck Norris, who's dressed up like doing like Indian cosplay, and he can turn into a bear. But it's like basically, but it's an environmental movie, and it's like for kids, so all the fight scenes are kind of like slapstick too, and like really bad, like really horribly choreographed, because it's supposed to be kind of like funny. It's a ridiculous movie and it's awfulness. I'm pretty sure his brother Aaron, directed it.
Oh yeah, he did most of them. Yeah.
Yeah, he did Sidekick. He did Sidekicks too, I think. Here we go. Did I miss O'Malley getting killed? Because they're going after them.
I don't think so. Mine kind of buffered a little bit. I'm a little bit behind you now.
Okay. He's gone back to the nurse, and now some bad guys have found them and they're just opening up on them.
Boom!
There goes one. I like that move. Just hit him in the head. At least do one of your throws. Again, clunky kick.
Not too much.
There you go. Big ass movie. A lot of those in that.
Another fake one, yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of the angle of the arm there. Oh my God.
Just threw Tom Selleck over the balcony.
Tom Selleck's in everything.
Man, that's a fake. It's like wiggling. It's like shaking. It's so fake.
You guys just shoot a little lower.
Aim for his abdomen.
I'm just saying, like the one move if you're getting shot at is to get down. So I mean, if you're experienced at shooting at people, you think aim a little lower. But, they're shooting his like shrine to Asian fakeness.
Yeah, it's Asian, but it's got glass on the outside, or it's what do you call it? Like rice paper or whatever that is.
Yeah. Oh man, there's a guy from the hospital. He's still there. I like how he's like the main thug. He's so unintimidating. Just this scraggly looking guy.
More grenades.
There's going to be a scene where it's just going to be a one-sided beatdown where he just beats the shit out of him. Because that's also... I mean, I'm not going to say that Steven Seagal invented that, because, I mean, that's basically how it worked with, like, Bruce Lee, too. In Bruce Lee's fights, like, he is almost never in trouble. He just sort of wastes everybody. Mm-hmm. And that's how they always did things with Steven Seagal. And that's one of the things I found most annoying, but also funny about about Under Siege 2. Because in Under Siege 2, there's this whole buildup of one of the bad guys that he's like this badass special forces terrorist guy, and he's blathering about how much he wants to take on Steven Seagal. And then they finally, it's all hyped, and they have this fight in the train, and like the guy is like in no way in any match for him. Seagal just beats him down horribly through the whole thing. Like he's never in trouble. It's never shown that maybe they're evenly matched. No, the guy can't touch him. And that's just how Seagal does his movies.
Right. Man. You guys can't shoot for shit.
I remember reading an article a few years ago that there's this whole thing for the Fast and the Furious movies, that there are guys, I mean, they must have other jobs, but like part of their job is each of them is attached to Jason Statham, The Rock, and who's the other guy? Vin Diesel. And they watch the fight scenes and they complain if their guy gets hit too much. And then they'll take it out. It's like, okay, he can only get hit so many times. Take that out. And they have to do it in a way so that none of the three outshines the other. They always have to keep it equal. Like one guy can't be shown to be kicking more ass than the other guy. One guy can't be shown getting hurt more than the other guy. Like apparently that's a real thing. Like Jesus, the egos.
That's so lame. I know.
It's a fucking movie, man. Because it's like, okay, if this character saves this guy, he has to save him the next time. It's got to, we can't have an unbalance here. We got to show that they're all equally awesome and good at kicking ass. And yeah. But there was even a thing about just like how many times they can actually be shown getting hit in the fight scene. They'll come in and like, no, too many hits. I'm like, wouldn't taking hits like prove their toughness though too? It's like, they're gonna win the fight. Isn't part of like the appeal, like they can take some hits to win the fight? I don't get it, but yeah. I'm reading that.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I mean, in Vin Diesel's defense, like he has been in all but one of those movies.
Yeah.
Part 3, I think it was.
Yeah, the Tokyo Drift one.
Yeah. I don't think he's in that. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen all those movies, but
I heard the newest one has a budget like well over $300 million.
Which is
does not seem necessary.
No, it's dumb.
I mean, I get why they'd be expensive movies, but not that expensive. Because I mean,
because they're paying guys to bitch about how many times the main characters get hit.
I know, and each guy's salary is like 20-some million, probably.
I'm sure. The Rock and Vin Diesel. Statham's probably not that high.
Be higher by now, though. I mean, he's been around a long time.
Even though, I mean, Statham's probably my favorite out of all those guys.
Yeah,
he's an actual martial artist, so.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Like, we should do Transporter, man. That'd be fun. Or Transporter 2.
Yeah, we can do 2. I won't watch 1. I don't want to see him touching Shuchi.
Ah, gotcha.
That pisses
They're both
me.
Fun movies, though. I like them both.
Yeah. I mean, Yen Wu Ping did the choreography, so that's kind of why they're good.
Whichever one where he's like sliding around like on the motor oil and shit the whole time. Like it's like a whole fight like in a like garage, like a
that's good.
Automotive garage type thing. I don't know which.
I don't even know what they're doing. They were posing as real estate agents. Now I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Just stealing cameras out of the wall, apparently.
Oh, he's trying to get his. Is that where his the original evidence was?
I think so. Yeah.
From 7 years ago. Yeah, O'Malley's still alive. Because he's supposed to meet O'Malley with his son, who's now a teenager. Oh, that's why he was a real estate agent, because that was his old house. That was his house.
Yeah.
So that's where the tape was hidden at his old house. So that's why. Okay, I got you. I double check that because I wasn't paying full attention. Ryan's family had a car like that. The old station wagon.
Oh yeah, buddy of mine had one too. Had a bumper sticker that said "I brake for dinosaurs" on it.
Nice. I can get behind. That's a bumper sticker I can get behind.
Yeah, it was just like that too, I think. Or maybe a different color, but had the paneling on it. It had been like gray or something or silver.
Holiday Road.
Yeah.
Holiday. That's all you can think when you see it. There's the kid. Well, say goodbye to your father figure. Don't worry, your real father's back.
Yeah. And he's way cooler.
He's got a ponytail.
Ralph Macchio?
Weston Bonaventure. Pretty festive atmosphere for a hotel.
Did you ever watch that show Renegade?
No.
With Lorenzo Lamas?
The only reason I know what that is from the Simpsons episode where they did the spoof of Behind the VH1's Behind the Music. And they said that, like, during a part where, like, their show went on hiatus, Bart took over the lead role as Renegade. And I had to look it up to find out what it was. It was pretty funny.
I'm sorry, not Renegade, Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh, yes, I know Walker, Texas Ranger. Yeah.
The bad guy here was on Walker. The one, let's see if it shows him again here.
I mean, that's how I first probably saw Chuck Norris before I saw, like, his older movies and stuff, is I saw Walker on TV with his cowboy karate.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of Chuck Norris when I was like a kid. I was more Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Van Damme, obviously.
Like, I don't think I was really aware of his movie history or, you know, that he'd done stuff with, you know, obviously that he'd been in Way of the Dragon with Bruce Lee and stuff like that. Like, I just knew he was a guy that did Walker, Texas Ranger. And then, like, a little later, that was one of, like, the funny recurring bits on Conan. You remember that on Conan O'Brien, where he'd pull a lever and they'd show just a random out of context clip from that show. That was great. It always ended with him kicking somebody. No matter what the situation, it was going to end with Chuck.
I know you're a little bit in front of me, but I'll try and point this guy out to you if I see him. It's kind of like a racially ambiguous. I don't know if he's Native American or Hispanic or what, but it's like a brown guy with mullet.
But I mean, I've heard of Lorenzo Lamas.
Yeah.
That guy's doing what I always wanted to do, is run through the fountain. Now let's see what they're going to do. Oh, front kick.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're a good bit in front of me.
Break some more glass. Yeah, I got him throwing people through glass. Now they're going to steal somebody's convertible. They stole that cowboy's car.
Huh. Oh, going back to the glass. Okay.
Yeah. Just once. It's never enough. There's now the legit cops who are chasing them too. Because they don't know. We get to see any good stunt driving in this? Sometimes these movies have good stunt driving.
That cowboy was dressed up like Colonel Sanders. He had the same bow tie on.
Just some fake out-of-towner, probably.
Yeah.
Trying to be a cowboy.
I'm an old tycoon.
I figure most people you see in Texas, like, dressed up like that are just, like, tourists. They're like, I'm just soaking up the atmosphere. You know, like the normal Texans are looking at them like, okay.
Right.
I'm a real Texan. Yeehaw. All right, this is definitely where he gets it. He's already lived way longer than I expected. All right, you're at the train station, O'Malley, which is an appropriate place to punch your ticket.
They wouldn't show this if he wasn't going to get killed right here.
His final advice to the kid was, don't spill that mustard. That's really heartfelt, you know. It's going to make his death feel all the worse when he remembers. You've been such a great dad to me, telling me not to spill the mustard. I know it's awkward, he says. That's actually the most self-aware line in the movie. Before I die, what were on those pajamas that night? I couldn't make them out.
Was it Transformers or dinosaurs?
Your mom got killed. Can't you remember your damn pajamas? Oh, here we go. So O'Malley, look, oh, great mustache. So they're just gonna waste him right in public. Oh, the final tape.
Yeah, the guy in the middle there is the one from Walker. This is like right hand man.
Okay. I mean, I remember the show, but mostly just sort of like randomly out of,
I never watched
sequence episodes, just here and there. Yeah. So I didn't know any characters on it besides Walker himself.
It was like that, and then Renegade and the Highlander, the series, were all kind of blended together for me.
I had friends that loved Highlander, the series. I didn't watch it, but
I watched that probably.
It was like their
more
favorite
out
show.
of any of those. Yeah. It wasn't great, but not a lot of stuff was.
We did the famously awful sequel, The Quickening, on here. Still like to do the original sometime.
Well, yeah, much better movie.
Yeah.
Quickening's fucking ridiculous.
We actually watched the cut that was a little bit better, which is kind of amazing because it's still awful. Because we watched the cut that kind of like keeps it from making it all that they're aliens.
All right, money penny. I'm Spanish.
As it turns out, I'm actually from another planet, I guess, according to this retcon. Give O'Malley credit. He going down fighting. Tire iron to the face. Get his ass. Man, people don't talk like that anymore. See that? Wow, you can tell that's his kid from across the parking lot. Yeah. It's hard to reconcile this fairly physical Segal with what we see now. Like, it's really him running. I mean, it's not an amazing stunt or anything. He's running on cars. Anybody can do that, but still. I mean, he would just become less and less mobile as his movies went, until he's literally fighting in chairs.
And that's not new. That was a while back.
That's like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can have this guy flipping around and running on the ceiling. I'll just sit in the chair. When he comes close, I'll punch him.
Steven, that's not how the script goes, but okay.
Okay. It's like, I'm not getting up today. I'm not getting up today, guys.
I just had a big meal. Come on, just have him come in here and I'll...
It's like, yeah. Just have the guy do extra movement, and that'll make up for my lack of movement, which seemed to be really what they're going for. Because the guy's like running around on the ceiling and doing flips and stuff. It's like, well, this scene does have a lot of movement, although it's still kind of painfully obvious that you're not the one moving, Steven. Not at all blend. See, what kind of kick is that?
Honestly, though, why do they care about the kid?
Oh, O'Malley gave him the last tape, although I don't know how they know that. But just before they arrived, O'Malley gave him the tape. So that's why they care. They saw him do it.
Oh, gave the kid the tape. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why he had one that he couldn't give to Segal. Again, what a shitty kick. Here we go. Let's see what you got. Now, this is more what I expect. This is the most kicking he's ever done, and they're all terrible.
Yeah, that's some of his stupid running right there.
Yeah.
He actually knocked that dude down, too. So
now he's just throwing this guy around. It's not even a fight.
He just actually punches people. He just doesn't hold back. I can't hold back.
Well, yeah, that's what he said. He's always on the set. He's always trying to intimidate the stunt guys that he's working with.
I can't control my force.
All right, mullet man.
Mm-hmm.
My hairstyle will outlast yours somehow. I know that doesn't seem likely. Oh, that guy's having flashback to having his hand grabbed. That's pretty funny. Oh, man. 7 years ago, he grabbed my hand like this.
No, man.
I mean, I guess that choke would work, but it's kind of an awkward way of doing it. Okay. That was a great flourish at the end there, dropping the mask on him. It's like, yeah, I just thought of that on the fly. I'm creative. Damn, his ponytail sucks. Even for a pony, like all guys with ponytails are pretty lame, but his is so limp looking and.
Yeah.
I like how she still calls him Storm. I mean, they banged.
Right.
So like, Detective Storm. It's like, yeah, you gotta act like you don't know me. My kid's here.
Oh, right.
It's like your mom was a great woman, but she's 7 years in the ground, kid.
And this nurse hot.
I woke up with 7 years of blue balls.
That would have been a great line.
Mm. Can't be much.
Are you my new mom?
Like, I'm a nurse, but I don't really have maternal instincts. So no. Yeah, we must be coming up to the climax here. There can't be much to go. These are not long movies, mercifully.
Yeah. So he left them.
Yeah, he's gonna hunt down the dirty cop guy. Oh, can we see something? No, they're just gonna tease us. Wow, she's hotter than Kelly LeBrock.
Let's see, let me get
wow, the bad guy's got a really hot girl. His jacuzzi there.
Hey, come on. Oh yeah.
Crime totally pays, babe.
I'm sure Segal.
Oh, almost. Yeah, probably. Oh, he probably screamed to make It's like, okay, remember the chick. She has to be super hot. So I'm just gonna do some casting couch auditions so we get that. You have to be just right for this 15-second scene where you have no lines.
Uh-huh.
I mean, something I found out recently, speaking of like commentaries of martial arts movies, is like one of the guys that had done a lot of the commentaries on the Dragon Dynasty releases back in the day, this British guy, Bay Logan. I found out he's like got a bunch of allegations and shit against him. And it turns out it's even worse because remember when Dragon Dynasty was working with Miramax, he was like buddies with Harvey Weinstein, and he basically worked as like a kind of like a pimp for him for introducing him to young Asian actresses. But he also had his own thing. And there was even a part in the early 2000s where he directed his own movie, and I guess like he like sexually harassed the shit out of the lead actress and kept telling her like how sexy the movie had to be and demanded to see her in her underwear and all this stuff because the movie called for that. And like, it's like, holy crap. So now he's like disappeared.
Not a whole lot would surprise me at this point, man.
But yeah, like that version of Fist of Legend I own. He's the one that did the commentary, and it's a good commentary, but yeah. But apparently, yeah, he's got like this long history of that. And nothing's stuck on him, but he's got the usual thing. He's just like, well, it's true. I had a lot of girlfriends, and maybe some of them thought things were a little more serious than I did. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah. They wanted it, man.
Yeah.
Classic rapist.
Yeah. But like when I found out like he was like personal buddies with Harvey Weinstein, it's like, okay, yeah. What? Oh, when do you see the stupid little message he put for him? It's really dumb. See, this is one. Oh, there's you're next. See, here's the problem with like most Segal movies. He's already taken out like the bad, like we know this main bad guy is in no way a match for him. So there's not really much suspense left. He's already taken out all the goons and stuff. It's like this is just some guy with a gun. Like he's not a badass or anything like that. So it's not like we're concerned. Can Segal take him? This is the last guy. It's like no, he's just some idiot. And you walked right into him. It also seems weird at this point. Like, Segal does have a disadvantage because the bad guy has a gun and he doesn't. It's like, how didn't he get a gun at this point? He just wasted a bunch of henchmen. None of them had a gun he could pick up.
I thought he had one when he walked in the room.
Yeah, suddenly he's unarmed. Either that or he's just playing with him, I guess. Ooh, slap. He's really serious now. He's slapping him. Throw the gun at him. That's always a good tactic.
I hate that.
Fireplace poker. That's a great Aikido move called pushing a guy down. Give the actor credit for that reaction. He's writhing on the floor like an eel. Aren't you at least going to beat on him some? That was kind of anticlimactic. Oh, because the main showdown is Vernon, right? The gangly guy from the hospital. He's the real...
Right. Oh, he's the main guy, yeah.
He's the real threat here. So now, yeah. So he did have the gun all along. He was just toying with the other guy. He's got the gun out for Vernon, though, because Vernon's bad news.
What an odd choice for the big bad, you know?
Yeah.
Like, where's
Here's
Bolo
that
Young
weird...
when you need him?
Oh, exactly, right. He's in Hong Kong at this time, probably. He's doing, he's doing Double Impact, probably.
Fuck yeah. That's right around then, 90, right? Right around
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So that's my guess. He's doing Double Impact with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Since Segal always plays the same character, he was just doing that thing where he has this weird sort of playful voice where he mocks the bad guys. He does that in like every movie. It's like, we're going to play now. Come on out. Maybe you shouldn't have yelled die.
Right.
Whoa!
Got a lot of nice suits in here. What size is Vernon? Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm about 20 seconds off from you.
Yeah. He's taking him on a little walk in his bathrobe.
That is William Sadler, right?
Is he that small? Or, I guess he's not small. Seagal's just really big. And I'll check.
Yeah, I got him pulling it up. Just because it looks a lot. Yeah, that's him.
Yep. The senator. Okay, so that's the senator he's going after, not the other guy. He must have killed the other guy, and I didn't notice.
He ran for. In the 7 years, he's gotten promoted to the point where he ran for senator and won.
Yeah. You just blow his foot off? Nope.
Only 2 shots in that guy, by the way. We just used one.
Ooh, that was a good joke, Segal.
Click. Oh no.
Thank God you guys are here. Do it now. Now.
Just blew my sack off.
Well, that was his joke. He's like, I missed. They must have been smaller than I thought. This is an odd finale. Oh, okay. One of the cops is going to come up and be like, I know he's the good guy.
Wait, is that John Doe?
I knew him from back in the day. No. Maybe you should have led with that. We know you're innocent.
I don't really think they would even listen to someone holding a gun to the senator's head. They would just blow his ass away, right?
Yeah. But then again, they don't want to shoot the senators. I don't know.
True. But, I mean...
But yeah, I don't know if they would allow one guy to walk forward to talk sense into him. In these movies, they're always showing cops doing things that cops don't really do in real life.
Speaking of that, whenever you do get to finish that movie, it really shows the incompetence of Korean police, like many, many times, and it's pretty funny. Like over and over again, they're just.
Well, I mean, I saw them chasing him, and it's like, how the hell could he possibly get away? And he does.
They're just constantly fucking up.
Killer Storm Strikes Back. Oh, that's a headline.
Terrible.
But as Segal movies goes, this is probably one of the best. Like, it's not good, really, but the action's at least competent. And, I mean, as embarrassing as the dialogue can be, if you put it up against other movies of that era, it doesn't really stand out as worse. Whoa, that was fast. I thought like the last shot would be him. It's not. I was not expecting that to be the last shot. There, over. You know, you're a bit behind me, but it doesn't cut back to him. It just ends on those guys talking about the news. Usually, speaking of movies of that era, you think they might even do like a freeze frame on them or something. You know, they did that a lot in those things.
Yeah.
Because it has him and the nurse and his son hugging, but they don't end it there, and they don't cut back to him. There's just like guys are like, this will be on the news. Roll credits. I mean, I can't remember Marked for Death too well, but I would say that's probably better than Marked for Death. I think.
The next movie after this for William Sadler in 1990 was Die Hard 2.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, a lot of action in 1990. Die Hard 2, Double Impact, as I said.
And then he was the Grim Reaper in both the Bill and Ted movies, or Bogus Journey, at least.
Oh, that was him. That's great. That was funny. That's such a weird sequel, but I like it.
He was in Trespass, which is...
I have not seen that.
Not a good movie, but not a bad movie either, I will say that. He plays another crooked cop in that.
I mean, it's a name I always knew, William Sadler, but I couldn't have told you who it was. But yeah.
And he's in Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. He's in an episode of Tales from the Crypt.
I love Demon Knight. Demon Knight's one of my favorite movies in the 90s.
He's also in Bordello of Blood.
Oh, the other one. The other.
And then Disturbing Behavior. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah. I actually like that movie. I know that it has like super low scores and everybody hates it, but I like that.
I like it. I like it a lot still.
Isn't that the movie that had Flagpole Sitta?
Yeah.
Nobody remembers that title, but yeah.
I do.
I'm not sick, but I'm not well. Which is one of the reasons they confuse everybody. Because, like, see, I'm not sick, but I'm not well song. It's actually called Flagpole Sitta. What? Harvey Danger. Yeah.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah. No, I like Disturbing Behavior.
Yeah,
I thought it got a bad rap. Like, it was pretty good for it.
He kind of played like the mentally handicapped janitor that kind of was locked up in like the boiler room the whole time. But
I haven't seen it in a while. But yeah.
Spoiler: he's not slow, and he really knows what's up, and he's got the answer at the end.
I actually forgot that, but yeah, you're right. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, but I still remember parts of it. I mean, who's the girl in it? Because obviously that was
Katie Holmes.
That's why. Late 90s Katie Holmes. Beautiful.
And Nick Stahl.
Yeah, I think so. A few of those do run together in my mind, even though like it's like there's that and there's Orc's favorite movie, The Faculty.
Yeah, those are similar.
There's also just to mix in like similar cast and things, although is what is it called? Idle Hands?
Oh yeah.
Idle Hands, and then even though it's not supernatural or horror or anything like that, Can't Hardly Wait. Like those movies all sort of blend into each other because they're all around the same era of about teens. I don't know. They all kind of bleed together.
People roughly our age, or maybe a little bit older than you, but
Yeah,
like basically my age, a little bit older.
Yeah, it's like Seth Green, and Katie Holmes, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Seth Green has been in almost everything. Like I was watching an episode of The X-Files the other day. Seth Green's in there.
Yeah.
Great stuff though. I love the 90s. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, I love the 90s too. Even the bad stuff about the 90s I like. Well, I mean, most of it. Not all. Yeah, I mean, there is some shit from the 90s I don't like. But I mean, most of it I can still enjoy.
You've always got your 20-year cycle where now like the 90s are coming back and all the stuff is becoming popular. And,
well, like I said, we're very close to people starting to, really, it's going to be the 2000s. And I mean, I straddle that line. So the early 2000s still works a little for me, because it's when I first started college and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's the thing I'm really most nostalgic for of the early 2000s is not so much like movies or music, it's games. Like there's a lot of games from that era, like a lot of video games. My best gaming years would have been like 95, 96 to about 2003. I really love that time.
Oh man.
Because I mean, speaking of having the PS5, I like the PS5, but I'm yet to really see what the PS5 can do. Like, I know it's a leap over the PS4, but I haven't really seen anything that shows it. And we're reaching a level of diminishing returns too. But there was nothing bigger than the leap, really, between the 16-bit and the 32-bit, right? To go from like 2D games to 3D games, to go from cartridges to CDs. Like in all the time since, I don't think there's been a leap that significant. There just couldn't be.
16 to 32. Because it went to Super Nintendo to 64, right?
Well, yeah, they jumped over it. So I mean, that same. So that's the fifth generation of consoles. So that the fifth generation consoles would be 32-bit systems like the Saturn and the PlayStation, 64-bit and 64, but also complicated by the fact that it was not CD based; it was cartridge based, which held it back a little.
Right.
So while it sounds like 64-bit, it was much more powerful. Not as much as it sounds on paper. And you can tell because stack the graphics up.
The Sega was the 32X, which is kind of unique because it wasn't a complete new console.
Well, the 32X was an add-on, right?
Technically, I mean, I guess people say if it has games that won't fit the previous system, then it's a new console. I guess it's kind of a...
I guess, but you need the Genesis to make it work. Can't have 32X with a Genesis.
But if you got a Genesis, I mean, you drop, whatever, $100 and you got a new console, so. I
mean, the 32X was another sort of blunder on Sega's part.
Sure.
Because really what they should have done, because they were like, okay, we're behind on the Saturn. This will buy us some time.
Right.
When they shouldn't have done it. And actually, the whole thing about the Saturn was they felt all this need to be first, which really wasn't a great idea. It just got them leapfrogged.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight, unlike your camera,
focus.
2020.
On camera. There you go.
There we go.
Did it earlier, too.
So what was the Sega CD? Was that 64?
So that was No. So that was the first Sega add-on. That predates the 32X. Like, you could have a Genesis with the CD and then the 32X on top of it. You could have them all together.
That's like a fucking transformer with all that shit on it.
Yeah. So it was like well, I mean, of those, I mean, not counting stuff like the Philips CDI or something. It was the first, CD-based console. But as far as like most gameplay went, it didn't really enhance anything. It was in between stuff, right? It would have FMV or something. which people thought was going to be like the future, like, actual video stuff like Night Trap. And no, because it's like, you're not really playing that though. You're just watching it and clicking,
Right.
But yeah, just that era going from the 4th generation to the 5th. I just don't think there's ever been a leap like it.
What Sega did is kind of fuck up so other companies can capitalize on that and not do it wrong.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I love Sega now. I was a Nintendo person back then. Now I don't care. I like both, and I feel bad, and I wish Sega could have succeeded more to at least make more systems, because I think that would have been cool. But it's interesting when you think about like their window of like success is actually pretty short. Because, I mean, the Master System did well, but it didn't do well really in North America. And it didn't even do that well. Like, it did best in weird places like Europe and Brazil and stuff. Mm-hmm. The Genesis was like their best success by far.
Yeah.
Right on par with the Super Nintendo. But then after that, it was, they were always playing catch up. Even if they were ahead, they were playing catch up. Because the Saturn came out before the PlayStation. But as you said, like, it kind of helped teach them some lessons. And then they put all their eggs in one basket for the.
It was Dreamcast. The Saturn was the last console, right? So it was DreamWorks before the Saturn.
No, Saturn then Dreamcast.
Dreamcast. What am I saying? DreamWorks.
Yeah, and I own a Dreamcast, and I love it. And I would love to own a Saturn someday. I'm obsessed with the Saturn. So many great games I'd love to have on the Saturn. I've got some Saturn ports on my Switch right now that I'm enjoying.
A lot of great games came out on those, but maybe only in Japan.
Yeah, some of them. And some of them are just so rare nowadays, too. Stuff like the Saturn version of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Well, a lot of people don't even know that happened, but it did. And it had extra stuff in it, too. It had, you could play as Maria in it. Which eventually I got to do because I have the version they released on the PSP years ago. But.
Oh, really? Oh, man. I need to see if I can get a hold of that. Probably
there's a Saturn version of Resident Evil, but pretty rare.
Oh well,
because the Saturn couldn't do 3D as well as the PlayStation, but it did 2D better. And if you were like an arcade gamer and you liked those fighters, the Saturn was the system to own. They did better arcade ports. So.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into that sometime more. But yeah,
we should.
So that's 90s. But when I think about the early 2000s and my nostalgia, a lot of it has to do with that. That would have been the 6th generation when the PS2 just first came out in 2000, and I got mine in the second half of 2001 or something like that. What sucks is my PlayStation 2 is broken. Like, it boots up and it reads discs, but I can't do anything. And also when it boots up, I don't know how well you remember the PS2, but the PS2, you could start it without a game in it, and you get a certain screen for it. But if you had a game in it, it wouldn't do that. It should go right into it. But the way mine works is even if it has a game in it, it will boot up as if it doesn't have a game and give you that stuff first. And since I can't do anything anyway, it doesn't respond to the controller. If you wait long enough, it does start to run the game, but then I still can't do anything. So for a while, I was thinking, is it just the controller that's broken? But it can't be. There must be more to it. So actually, just the other day, there is a used game store downtown that's got good stuff, but it's expensive as hell. And they've got 2 PS2 Slims in there. And I didn't ask them how much because I'm wondering. Because I really miss playing my PlayStation 2 games. I have some good games on there that I love to play. But I did make a good pickup there just the other day. Speaking again of that era, a game I missed out on back then. This is one of the Tales games by Namco. This is Tales of Symphonia for the GameCube. I don't own a GameCube anymore. I've told many times the story of the great break-in of 2005 where I lost my GameCube. But I have a Wii, and the Wii can play GameCube games. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep.
So they were still backwards compatible at that point.
Yeah, the Wii was. Yeah.
That's cool.
And I have a GameCube controller that you can plug right into the Wii. So I'm playing it with a GameCube controller. But so it's interesting that the Tales series is really big. This is back when it was just Namco. Now it's Namco Bandai. But they were never that big over here. But and I got into them late. And actually, it's kind of funny because that was the game I was playing today. It's a PS4 game, but I was playing the enhanced PS5 version. The latest one is called Tales of Arise. And this was the only one I'd ever played. But they go all the way back to the 90s. But this was the one that sold the most. Tales of Symphonia. It's got an interesting voice cast. The main character, I can't remember the name of the voice actor, but he's voiced by the guy that did Robin on the Teen Titans show from around that time, if you remember that Teen Titans show. So that's kind of cool. So I barely played. I only played a little bit. But that wasn't cheap, but it was a price I could live with. But they had a few things there that I wanted, but they wanted like a ton of money for them.
I've been to some stores that have amazing stuff, but it's all so expensive.
Because, I mean, on the one hand, I'd be like, yeah, I'd rather support you than just buy something on eBay. But, I mean, can you give me a little space, too? And, I mean, I've only been there a couple times, and I didn't talk to them this time. But, like, the first time I was down there, they had some game. I don't even remember what it was. And I just said, is there any wiggle room on that? I was like, can I haggle? And they're like, no, we don't really do that. I'm like, fine. Good luck. Although I will say, like, the GameCube, that's not the GameCube game I went there for. There was a GameCube game, the game Eternal Darkness, which I did play back in the day, which is a really famous game. They had it for $80, and I was considering buying. Now it's $80 Canadian, which is not quite the sting that $80 American would be, but it's still a lot of money. I was considering it, but when I went back, and this is a couple months later, it was gone. So somebody bought it, I assume. Yeah, that was the game I'd asked. I'd asked if there was wiggle room on that. I was like, because I don't know, I would have said maybe, I don't know, 60, 65 even for a rare good game like that. But they're like, no, we don't really do that. When I was in there the other day, I had to wait forever too, because some woman had come in and she was trading in 1 million like Xbox games. She had like a huge stack of them.
So that's the problem now too, or not the problem, but everyone knows what stuff's worth. Even like, people doing garage sales can look on eBay and be like, yeah. Johnny's tapes, or worth.
That was actually pretty funny about one of the ones I was looking at. I should have known because they have ones that are out in the thing, but then they have ones that are in the glass case. So I was looking in the glass case and I was looking at, like 3DS games and stuff like that. And on the sticker, I was like $13. Oh yeah. Why? No, it was $130. Oh, that's what they want. Because I was like, I'm going to get 2 of these. And I was like, oh,
I'll take them both, sir.
130. Fuck. And it's a game that, like, again, like I have on the Switch, digitally. It's just to have a physical copy of the game from when it came out back then. It's like, how much is that worth to you? I don't know. To me, it's worth something, but 130, no.
I can do emulators on pretty much everything, so it's hard for me to drop any kind of, large.
I do like having original version of games on the original systems. I do, and I try my best with it. But like I said, it's harder now. I don't have, my PS2 doesn't really work anymore, and other ones I just don't have. Like I said, one thing they don't have is they don't have any Saturns or Saturn games, or at least if they do, they sell them out quickly. Because that's really the next system I want to get is a Saturn. I'm still obsessed with the 3DO. I'm still going to get a 3DO someday, I swear to God. But anyway, we will have a longer discussion on video games and stuff in a different setting. But for now, I'm pretty tired, so we're going to call it. But I'm glad we got to do something. And originally, we were going to try to salvage this week to do a movie discussion Pocket Dimension. And some things came, and it was just like, better to put that off, but we still wanted to do something, so we're like, we'll do a stupid Segal movie. So it's good because I haven't been on forever, but we are going to have an actual episode next week, and we'll get going again with that and some other things as well. And like we said, we do have something coming up with Orc. We're going to make it work when all 3 of us can do it. It'll be fun. But we definitely have some game speak to do, either if it's just us or maybe Eric with us. I don't know, but we both have some game stuff on our minds that we'll get into, but we'll call it for now tonight. So thanks for anybody that showed up for a fairly impromptu live commentary. And I also have to say, we're not done with Segal. We're not. There's at least one Segal movie I really want to do. I really want to do Under Siege 2 if I can find it somewhere for free, and something like that. But then I swear we'll actually do some good action too. We will. But I know it feels like it's never going to happen because we just been off for like over a month. But we'll pick up our production. So anyway, thanks a lot to anybody that joined us. I know that Jamie was there for a while, so thanks, Jamie. Good to see you. And I think Jess was around. So we appreciate that. So we'll call it for now. Thanks a lot, guys. And we'll be back very soon with something. So have a good night, and we'll see you next time. Peace out. Bye-bye.